So let's continue. The next one, the XML file, is very simple. So I just click add. I have to, just like I did with the text file provider, I have to go to the configuration and I have to make another connection manager. So I make a new connection to a create file, needs to be right here. So SSIS package logs.xml, say OK, and execute my package. And then it's a matter of how do you want to parse it? How do you want to work with it, right? So we could open it, I think Internet Explorer even does it. I've got the XML editor here installed here in the Internet Explorer. You can see the XML. So you could see the event, the package start. You can see the event diagnostic. I mean, it's just the exact same information in an XML format. That's all it is. So you might be asking, why would I use this? Well, generally speaking, you're going to use an XML-based package log because you have written or have purchased some sort of a parsing utility. So, looking at an XML file is not fun. It's not what we would usually do. However, because it is in XML format and it must adhere to XML, the proprietary format and all the fun that is XML, that means that we can write a parser against this file. So we could actually put in a style sheet against it. We could add it to a web page. We could embed it in applications. We could write a parser that reads the package logs, looks for particular text, and makes decisions based off of that. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be able to do if it's in XML format. I would say that if you are going to be later on, it's probably a little premature to say, but if you're going to be writing defensive packages in which when an error occurs or if an error occurs, it writes the error to the log, and then later on you have some other mechanism that sweeps through and acts upon what was written to the log, you would be using XML files. And I'll give you an example of something like that. Let's say that we have an ETL process where let's just call it a two-step process. Step one, download a file from an FTP server. Step two, load the file. Okay, and we have a little bit of logic in our code that says, if we'll start at 10 p.m. and if the file is not there at 10 p.m., we'll come back, we'll go to sleep. We'll come back at 10:30. Yeah, it's still not there. We'll come back at 11. Still not there. Come back at 11:30. But if the file has not arrived by midnight, then we want to fail the package. Okay, well, we could actually do this package logging in our XML format, and we could have another process that loads up these XML files daily. And it sort of aggregates all of the errors for all of the SSIS packages that we run. And it could create an admin console page, an admin website, just of those errors. So this particular one would have errors. Hey, we tried 3 times or 4 times at 10, 10:30, 11, 11:30, but we were unable to acquire the file, and therefore this package did not run. The administrator needs to go run it manually. Right? Now that could be done iteratively or declaratively in the package itself, but it's just another alternative. If you're going to be doing, like I said, defensive packages where you are making decisions and doing certain things after the fact based on logging, you're going to probably be either doing so in an XML file or in the SQL Server table option that I'm going to show you here next. Okay. Another way, by the way, just to help you out, if you want to, you can open the XML file with Visual Studio. I like the Visual Studio viewer probably the best because I can tell it to format the document. Where is it in here? I'm pretty sure it's in the edit menu here. Maybe it's advanced form. Yeah, there it is. I'm used to hitting the Control K, Control D combination that you see right there. So if I just hit Control K, you can see down at the very, very bottom of the screen, it says Control K was pressed, waiting for the second key. So then I would just hit Control D. It then formats that page, kind of the same thing that we saw in Internet Explorer. Okay. I just happen to like the Visual Studio layout a little better. Okay. And you know what? I've never opened it with Word. Just for fun, I want to try that. What does it look like? Is it actually just a Word document of XML stuff, or does Word have an XML viewer? Oh, wow, even, huh. Okay. All right. Anyway, sorry. I just never thought I would ever want to open up an XML file in Word. Uh, I'm sure there's a valid reason for that. I know there is. Some really smart people did that, so there's got to be a reason for it. Anyway, back to our package. I was talking about logging. Now, the logging aspect here, let me just go here to the SQL Server side of things. So add it in, click here. Must configure this one as well. We have to make a connection to a SQL Server, and so I'm going to make a connection. I'm going to go show you something first. Inside of the MSDB database, we have the SSIS, SSIS log table. Okay. So this table here is where, if you have enabled package logging from doing the data collector, where it dumped its logs. And there are several applications that are conditioned to write to the table SSIS log in the MSDB database. So I can make my connection in integration services to this server and to the MSDB database. I don't have to tell it what table. I don't have to tell it where to put it. I just have to say SSIS log. And before we start, before I click execute, let's just take a look at what's in that table. And it's empty right now. So let's execute our package. Come back over here, and you can see it did successfully add rows to our SQL Server table. Okay, awesome. You can see a logical thing, package start, diagnostic, right? It's just if you're a SQL person, this is probably easier for you to go through and work from. You can see the source tasks that in each one. You can kind of see that these executed in parallel as well. You can see it doesn't do all task and then all task one. It does them in parallel. We have multiple processors, so we're able to see that actually working. Okay, you know, it's pretty easy to, I think, kind of see some of the information that we have inside of SQL. I like SQL. Yeah, I'm a SQL guy, so it's fairly easy. If you don't want to use the MSDB as your general dump, you can use any database. It will automatically create this SYS SSIS log table. I will say that if you are using the MSDB database, particularly if you're doing diagnostic logging, it's going to be very verbose. There's going to be a lot of stuff added into that table there. Okay, so and I'll just show you. Like we'll go to the from access database, which has no SSIS log. And if I go to my logging provider, and instead of the local MSDB, I choose the local from, is it access? We'll do from access. And execute that now. Come back over here. You can see it created that table for us and put the rows in it. Okay? So it's taken care of all of that information. Okay. Let's see what else that you'd need to know about that. There's really not too much from a logging standpoint from the SQL Server. You know, you get into the details here to where what is it that you want to log. That really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. what's your purpose of logging? Are you just logging for errors? Are you just logging for diagnostics? The final one here would be the profiler. And this is just simply making another file-based connection. So make this a TRC file, so SSIS.trc. So it's a trace. And just say go. And you can, if you're on SQL Server 2008, you can double click on that trace file and it will open it with SQL Server Profiler. And hey, look at this. It's almost like everything else we saw. Here's the package start, right? However you want to see it, okay? So I think that it was worthwhile to go through these package logging so that later on in chapters 4, 5, 6, 7, we will be able to use these and troubleshoot our packages. So I tell you what, that ends chapter 3 for us. I'm going to see you in the next video, which is chapter 4's introduction, and we'll talk about all the tasks.